Hello, my beautiful PhD friends. So today I'm going to talk about the 6 benefits of doing a PhD. If you're new to this channel, please remember to subscribe and hit that bell notification because I'm going to talk about everything PhD, academia, careers, the things I've learned along the way, and I'm going to share that with you. Okay, let's get in to the first benefit of doing a PhD. It's a little bit obvious, but there are some sneaky, less known ones coming up. So, doing a PhD allows you to become an expert problem solver. Now, doing a PhD just involves you tackling issues you never thought you had, or you never thought you would have had in the project. That's one thing that when I was a supervisor for a master's student or an honors student, that was kind of like the first thing that I used to say to them, which was like, a PhD or research in general, you will end up solving problems you didn't think you'd even have to solve. And the thing is, they are like the smallest of problems as well. Like, how do I get this vial open? Where do I source this compound? Where do I do the experiment? Is it in the fume? Like, all of these things is just like constant problem solving and decision making. And a PhD is kind of that just every single day. Like, how do I book flights to a conference? What is the best hotel near the conference? Do I need to go to this conference? Should I include this in my seminar? All of those things are just problem after problem after problem. And so, yes, doing a PhD allows you to become an expert problem solver through the fact that you are solving problems every single day. And they tend to be, it's true, I guess, for every job, that the problems are different. But in a PhD, I guess, they're kind of so specific and focused on a very sort of specific outcome, which is getting some new information about the world and presenting it in a thesis. Okay, the second thing that I want to talk about is the fact that having a PhD opens up more opportunities. Now, this is a bit of a shout out to a science teacher that I had in high school called Mr. Carey. Mr. Carey, if you're out there and watching this, I still remember this many years later. And we talked about, higher career options. And he essentially said that, you can collect these qualifications to open up opportunities and doors for you. It doesn't mean you have to do what's at the end of that sort of qualification. You can actually go right back, and his example was stock shelves in a supermarket, if that's what makes you happy. But the fact that you've got options is what is kind of quite liberating about having a PhD. It opens up things like, lecturing in a university. It opens up academic career path, although it's very unlikely you'll get there just because it's so competitive. It opens up more opportunities in industry. Even in government positions, you need a PhD for certain jobs, like my medical physicist friend who could access higher pay scales and different job opportunities with a PhD. So yeah, it's not that you have to do a PhD and then you kind of have to do something with it at the end, but the fact that it's there is kind of like an insurance, like giving you more options. So yes, you can go into industry, you can go into, you can do patent attorney stuff, you can go into academic writing, like all of those things immediately open up as soon as you have a PhD. So it's not as pigeonholing as I think most people like to think. It can be hard to describe why your PhD makes you better suited to a certain role, but yeah, it certainly opens up more opportunities for you. So yes, that's number 2. Now, if you'll let me, let's get the ego thing in. It's just great being viewed as an expert. There's still a little part of me inside, even though I've tried to squash my ego as much as humanly possible without LSD and ego death drugs, that you are viewed as an expert. The doctor title, I remember my parents were getting very excited because they were like, oh, you get to call yourself Dr. Stapleton. And I think that's kind of a nice byproduct, and changing your cards or whatever to include the doctor title, like that is a very egocentric driven thing. but there's no doubt that it feels good. And also that kind of sense, that feeling you get from people when they know you've got a PhD, which is just that, they go, well, this person is clearly clever. And I guess maybe you are a little bit clever, but really it doesn't show how clever you are. A PhD shows how you can dedicate a certain portion of your life to achieving quite a difficult outcome, like generating new, novel knowledge about the world. Being viewed as an expert in any capacity, I think, is something that people want. It's like recognition, like Maslow's pyramid of human requirements. Being recognized is one of them. And I think that's what a PhD does. It gives you a certificate of recognition for hard work, and that sort of spills over into how society views you a little bit, and it feels good. Okay, number 4 is, I think PhD students and people that have got a PhD are expert learners. I feel like I can turn my learning on. It's like, okay, I need to learn how to knit is one that I did recently. Like, I'm learning to knit. And so I just kind of, how to break down, once again, going to that problem, you kind of break down the problems, the steps that you need to go through to get to the end goal. And so this idea of learning, is fantastic. You've essentially trained yourself how you learn, and that's a very individual thing. I'm a very visual learner. I need to watch things, I need to try things, and importantly, I need to fail myself so that I can see what went wrong and then how I can fix that for the next time I do it. So I'm all about learning, failing, and then learning, and then moving on. And so yes, I am very good at learning a new skill, and it's something that in my startup, Verbalize.science, has sort of like paid off immensely, just because I learned my way out of problems. I learned how to code, I learned about marketing, I learned about sales, I learned about how to run a business, I learned about organizational structures. And sometimes I just go out and I just research it myself. And my partner always says that I learn quickly, and I learn almost anything that I need to get something done, to overcome a problem in my life now in general as well. So yes, having a PhD means you have just perfected learning in your style. And I think that's what really makes it stand out, is that it's individual to each person. And so yes, you've learned how to learn quickly, and that pays off in so many awesome ways. Okay, number 5, and this may be a little bit controversial, especially because I've got a startup business about science communication, but I do think that during the course of a PhD, you learn to communicate better. Now, that's not to say that all scientists are brilliant communicators, but what it does do is it kind of forces you to present in front of people. It forces you to write down your ideas. It forces you to go through the peer review process. And I feel like that process does make people better communicators. Like I said, it doesn't mean they become expert communicators, but it means that they get better at presenting their ideas in a whole wide range of formats. And the 6th thing that I want to talk about is how much a PhD shapes your identity. There's no doubt that it's a long decision. It's quite a hard decision. Do you do a PhD? Do you not? What are the benefits? But dedicating your life, 3 to 4 years of your life, to a problem and overcoming the challenges that come with it, that accepting that some days are going to suck, some days are going to be better, accepting that it's going to probably fill you with anxiety, that it's probably going to be super competitive, that you're going to judge yourself, you're going to want perfection from your writing and you'll never get there. All of that really shapes who you are as a person. And I'm in no doubt that my PhD in chemistry allowed me to become a better, more well-rounded person because of how I approached problems, learning, and now as a small business owner, I feel like my PhD sort of lessons are still paying dividends now. They're still teaching me or making me aware of the things that I'm failing in, or like I recognize the same feelings that are popping up that I had during my PhD. And so it really does help kind of formulate you as a person, and it does help create an identity, I think, that I'm certainly proud of, I think. So I think that's the deepest benefit I can think of in terms of getting a PhD, which is that as long as you don't let your ego get in the way, and as long as you're not like, I know everything now because I got a PhD and I know how to build rockets, and so that makes me bloody awesome. As long as you don't let that get in the way of just accepting that doing a PhD is a challenge, and that challenge means that it does form you in the same way that metal is forged in a flame in hot coals. The hot coals of a PhD really do harden you up, do help you get through things, and those sort of spill through into the rest of your life. So if you're new to this channel, please remember to subscribe and hit that bell notification, because I love helping you with everything I learned from doing my PhD and the mistakes that I made as well. Okay, so those are my 6 benefits of doing a PhD. Let me know in the comments what ones you would add, and good luck on your PhD journey. If you only just started, if you're afterwards, let me know what topics you'd like me to cover and I'll add them to my list. Have a fantastic day, week, month, whatever it is, and I shall see you in the next video.